I want to talk about that Neverland thing. So, like, what's your of Michael Jackson? What is your? Because I had preconceptions before I watched it. Like, my thing was I thought he was a pedo before I watched the program. What do you think he? Because you haven't seen the program, so what do you think of him?
Well, I haven't seen the program, but my perception before watching the program was there's been accusations against him, but they're obviously not true because Macaulay Culkin said they're not.
Yeah. So I think there was two from what I remember the program. There was two lawsuits that he went through. One was settled out of court, I think, for like $10 million. $10 million, I think. Well, no, they said between $10 and $20 million. And the second one that is the one I remember, which was, I can't remember what year it was, but that's the one I remember, and that's when he got acquitted of the accusations.
Well, that's what I was saying before. I haven't seen the documentary yet, but before everyone started talking about it in the last week or two, I was a bit on the edge. I didn't know what side to go for, but all I know is if I was a multi-millionaire pop singer who completely taken over the world pretty much, I would not be paying $10 million to a kid who hadn't made suck my dick.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. So the program is, I think it's called Leaving Neverland, and it's basically about these two blokes who were molested by, or supposedly molested by, Michael Jackson. And one of them was a kid from Australia, and one of them was like a kid from America, but he was I think he did like a TV commercial with him. So the Australian kid was like a dancer and won some competition to meet him, and then the other kiddie, the American kiddie, was in like a Pepsi advert with him, and then Michael Jackson was then like hooked onto him basically. Like, and there's loads of stuff like they talk about like how they went through it and what happened and how they met him and what happened after they met him, and they go all the way through it right up until he died, and then afterwards, because one of them, after he died, one of them sued his estate basically. Yeah, I don't think he won, but like, yeah, when you watch it, like one of the things you don't realise is how famous Michael Jackson was. Because like when you see videos of him out in public, like it's mad. Like there's no one alive now that's that level of celebrity. I don't think there ever will be again. Because I think it's a different age now.
But there's few people dead who are still that level of celebrity.
Well, yeah.
Because after this story started to break in the last week or two, despite overwhelming evidence contrary to what they believe, you've still got swarms of people defending him.
Well, there's I'll try and find it. There was a thing in London. People were hiring buses with with adverts on there. So it was basically protesting his innocence. And that's a £20,000 crowdfunding campaign backed by his supporters. It's basically to say, but like the problem is, you're never going to know. If you believe the people or not, that's your decision. You're never going to know because he's not. It's like it's difficult to. They were very what they said was very hard to listen to because they went into very graphic detail about what had happened to them.
I've also been told when going into graphic detail they were looking rather emotional.
Yeah, they were. If they're lying, they're very good actors. They're very good because they seem genuine. And like the problem with it is with that, whenever that sort of thing happens and that person isn't alive, like all you could say is, well, he went to court twice. Yeah, right. He settled out of court once, but the other time he was acquitted. So really, like it's difficult. But the program itself is mental. So you see, like I say, you see how they met and all the stuff they went through, and basically how it's portrayed across how Michael Jackson manipulated the family. So he became like one of the kids, like one of their family, and then like they would go for like sleepovers at his house and stuff, and then they would be allowed to like sleep with him by themselves. And the one thing I thought about was like the parents, like a lot of blame lies on the parents. Like don't get me wrong, all the blame lies on Michael Jackson. But there's a slight blame to land with the parents. Like that's the main takeaway you get from the program. Like, is that because the guys still blame their parents as well. Obviously, they blame Michael Jackson, but they were like in love with him, so they don't see it. Like when they were going through it, because obviously they were really young. One was like 7, and I think the other one. No, I think they were both like around the age of 7. They were basically in love with him. Like they didn't see it as abuse then. It's only when they were older, and even when they were older, like one of them testified for him in one of the trials.
But am I right in saying that at the time when the boys had this relationship with Michael Jackson, the parents were aware that they were sleeping in a bed?
Yeah, so they knew they were sleeping in like the same bed, and they knew like that they were being left alone. Like one of them, they went to visit him at that Neverland Ranch, and they were meant to go to the Grand Canyon, but the kid didn't want to go, so the family left to the Grand Canyon for a week and left him alone with Michael Jackson.
Now, hearing that sort of thing, I don't think you can ignore the fact that regardless of how much the parents praise Michael Jackson, someone being famous and becoming a multi-millionaire through whatever means it doesn't make it impossible for them to do wrong.
No.
And you can't, like you were saying, you can't take blame away from Michael Jackson, but you also can't take blame away from them, because there was a massive level of naivety from them, and I don't think you can ignore potential financial benefits to them as well.
No, and that's like he bought one of the families like a house and stuff, and don't get me wrong, like the parents are definitely have some blame, but also like it sounds like they were, if it's all true, like they were very well manipulated by Michael Jackson. Like he became one of the family, he gained all their trust, you know, and also they asked the kids, you know, the parents asked the kids, is anything going on? Did anything happen? Like I think it was when he first got accused by the first kiddie. And the parents both said to the boys, like, is anything going on? And they were both like, no, nothing at all, because they didn't want their relationship with him to end. But like,
yeah, and I'd also, something I'd seen in a news story, like you said, he'd been very manipulative, and I don't know if this was one or both of the boys, but there were reports that he'd been, what I'd read is on occasions where he'd forced one of these boys to give him oral sex, should we say. He was afterwards telling them, you can't tell anyone about this, you can't tell your mum or dad, you can't tell the police, because if you do, we're both going to go to jail.
Yeah, that's what they said. So he said, and that's why one of them said when like the first trial came up and he testified for Michael Jackson, because I think he was still quite young at the time, I think he was only in his teens, I think, he was saying like that, and that's still a thought he had. If he'd have come out with that and agreed with it, then he thought he was going to go to prison. He thought, you know what I mean? And also they still had feelings for Michael Jackson, so they didn't want him to go to prison either. Like, and also like they said, like it was like because there'd been other boys coming as well, so like it was weird when you lay it all out. This is what I said after watching it, like when you lay everything out of what actually happened, not just with those boys but with all the boys and stuff, like it's ridiculous. Like he had a continuous stream of young boys around him that he was regularly left alone with. You know what I mean? Like they were treated like his best friends, but like it's so weird that was allowed. Like that the parents didn't think, oh, hang on a sec, like this is messed up. But what are we doing? Like, because you wouldn't let because one of the mums said, wanted to have one of the kids leave. So I think they were going to move back to Australia, or they stayed in America for a bit and were going back to Australia. And Michael Jackson asked one of the mums, "Can I keep the kid for a year?" And she was like, "No, like you're not having my kid for a year." But it's like, yeah, but you've let him sleep with him for like weeks on end, like in the same bed as him. And the parents were saying as well, sometimes they'd sleep in they'd be in the same hotel as Michael Jackson, and the kid would sleep in Michael Jackson's room, and their rooms got progressively further and further away from where he was staying, and they kept getting fobbed off with excuses like, "Oh, yeah, I'd heard that. Oh, we can't get you a decent suite. Oh, we can't do this, we can't do that. We're getting you the nicest room," and then all of a sudden they were like on different floors to him, and like it's so weird.
What you're saying there, just it relates back to something I was saying earlier, and I try and look at this in as simple terms as I can. I mean, I'm not an omniscient being who knows everything, who can tell you whether these things did or didn't occur.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I don't know everything, but here's the terms I would look at it in, because I don't know much about the US legal system, but I know, for example, let's just say if something like this had occurred here,
Mm.
if I personally was being accused of being a paedophile
Yeah.
and accused of sexually abusing children, and that was taken to court, I would much rather, bearing in mind that this is something that over here at least would have to be proved beyond all reasonable doubt. That's not something you get accused and convicted of
No.
at the click of a finger.
No.
I'd be much more interested in clearing my name for being a sex offender,
Yeah.
because I'm not one, than I would be. You can't ignore the fact that he would rather have given away $10 million and gone to court.
That's the thing. Like people saying, why did he settle out of court? And like it's
Well,
like
the reason he was setting out of court, like I said, I still need to watch these documentaries, so you've seen more of the evidence than I have. And the reason that he would have wanted to settle out of court is because, going on the balance of probabilities, if I had to give you a yes or a no answer, was Michael Jackson a sex offender?
Mm.
On the balance of probabilities, again, like I said, I don't know everything, but on the balance of probabilities, I would say yes, he was.
Yeah.
And here's a simple way you've got to look at it. He was someone who could afford to lose 10 million
Yeah, well, that was nothing to him,
out of
was
his
it?
wealth.
Yeah.
He could afford to lose 10 million, and he would rather have lost 10 million than go into a courtroom and have it publicly exposed that there was evidence such as
Yeah.
him having children stay with him for a week at a time.
Yeah. But also
Him taking children and the parents to a hotel room, which would progressively get him
But
further
also,
away.
like, but what makes me laugh is that stuff, maybe not some of the behind the scenes stuff, but like the stuff that the fact that he was around boys all the time was documented, was public though, because you always see videos of him with boys. That's what I don't understand, like, because he's, and people, like, they showed you clips of, like, at the trials, and people, obviously, like, the public being there to support him, and like some of them are like mental, like rabid, like it's ridiculous, and it's like, and they showed you like clips of when the other guy, now this I can sort of understand a bit more, but when the Australian guy got a bit older, he then sued, once Michael Jackson was dead, he sued the estate basically, and he didn't get any money off of them, but then people really got sort of like, oh, why are you doing this, blah blah, and that I can sort of understand, because it's like, people always say, like, and this is the problem I think that you get with a lot of this, especially celebrities, when it comes out about celebrities, is people don't always say things straight away, and it can take years and years for people to come up with stuff, and not saying it's not true, but it makes you question people as to, well, why are you doing this now, either because their person's dead, or someone else has come out of it and has had money, or has had their 5 minutes, or like it's a really difficult, and also like, especially because they were kids, like, because they don't know what's going on.
I think
it's fucked up.
If you take it away from just talking about Michael Jackson, so if you make it a bit more open,
like, well, if that was like anyone, if that was anyone, if Roger from down the road came to your house and said, "Oh, I really like your kid, like your 5-year-old kid, can he come stay next door and sleep in my bed?" You'd be like, "Get the fuck out of my house."
That's what I was.
Like, there's
no
no chance.
Whether you're a 7-year-old boy or girl,
yeah,
whether you're a boy or girl and aged between the age of 7 and 15, or close enough to either of them numbers, because I was just thinking about the case of R. Kelly as well. Whether you're a boy or girl,
yeah,
and whether you're any of
that R.
those
Kelly video,
whether you're any of those ages, you can't ignore the fact that in some respects, some people see these people like gods.
Yeah.
And it's like they make an assumption there can't be any wrongdoing.
Yeah,
and then you've got when people like R. Kelly, who've publicly been proven to have done things like pissing on, was she 15?
Yeah, it was an underage girl.
Underage girl. A video of him pissing on them, and all these girls are saying how he made them call him daddy, and there's so many disgusting accusations against him. But because he's R. Kelly, they can't be true. And then he
thought she was 14.
when he does decide to do an interview, he's sitting there and he's spouting perfect lines that have come from his publicist, and he thinks he's going to make a stronger image by trying to stand over the interviewer.
People were saying as well, like he comes across like a child comes across when it knows it's done something wrong, and it starts screaming, and it starts kicking off. That's how he came across, and it's fucking mental to watch. Like, yeah, it's ridiculous. Like everyone knows he's guilty. There's him, you definitely know. Like, because do you know what I mean? I think you look at him and you go, yeah, right, fair enough. Like, I believe that.
Yeah, well, I believe he can fly straight to prison.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, I think he's gonna, isn't he? But I don't know. It's just weird. Like, the documentary is definitely worth watching. Like, because it's quite scary how what some people will just let happen, and obviously I'm not saying that the parents knew about it so they let it happen, but like it's really weird that was the thing. But again, it's because he was famous. Like that's the reason why. It's because he was famous. If it was anyone else, it wouldn't have happened. But because he's famous, they didn't seem bothered about it.
No, and I think taking it away from just Michael Jackson and R. Kelly, it relates to a much bigger problem that's been exposed in recent years. And what's quite scary is these are the ones we do know about. No one can give you an answer, but I wonder how many things we don't know about, because even powerful figures such as in the Catholic Church, accusations are made against people like Cardinal George Pell, who was one of the highest figures in the Catholic Church up until recently, and he's now been convicted and sentenced to 6 years.
Yeah,
and this takes it away from a sort of celebrity atmosphere, but before that conviction occurred, you'd have people in the Catholic Church, excuse the term, but religiously sticking up for him.
Yeah, no, it's a weird set
you
of
can't
situations.
You can't ignore the fact that this cardinal would have been one of the closest advisors to the Pope.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a weird place that we live in now, because I think as well, like you hear a lot you hear a lot more about it now as well. I think it's like very out in the open. It's very talked about, and it's very like it's just in your face. Like, because I don't remember when we were younger, like hearing about these things half as much. Like I said, the Michael Jackson, the second trial, I remember that vividly, because I remember when he got off and I was like, "Are you fucking joking?" Like, and I don't. What year? I'm going to see what year that was, because I want to see how old we would have been when that first happened. Because I like I say, I definitely remember because it was all over the news. Like, because I remember that, and I remember when he died.
No.
So 2005. Was that
2004 to 5? So we would have been about 13 roughly.
Yeah. So when was the 2000? Yeah. So this must have been the second one. So I like I say, and also like you just look at him and you think, yeah, right, like he's a pedo, but like I definitely remember it. Like
you look at the outcome of that trial where there was no conviction, and and it's one of them cases, like you said, where enough people would have been looking at it and been like, what the fuck just happened? And then when you look at that, in addition to something we've already said multiple times, which is you don't give someone 10 million.
No.
If I was a multi-millionaire and I was accused of being a paedophile, which I can promise you I'm not, I'm stating that publicly, just in case. If I was a multi-millionaire, even if I could give 10 million away without it having a massive effect on my bank account, I'd be more interested in clearing my name as a paedophile.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the weird thing. Well, he said
again, like I said, if he wasn't a paedophile, then he would not have been proven to be a paedophile in a courtroom. And that's why he gave that 10 million away, because he was scared to go to a courtroom, because he knew what would be exposed.
Yeah, and it's like he said, oh, the reason he did it was because I think he was advised that it would cost him more money to carry on with the court than it would be to just settle. And it's like, but that doesn't matter. If you've got that amount of money, that shouldn't matter to you. It shouldn't matter how much it's going to cost. Like, if someone calls you a pedo, you don't want to be called a pedo. Like that, I don't know. Like I say, watch the documentary, because it's when everything adds up, it's quite scary. It's mad.
Maybe he really did just settle because it would have been cheaper to settle than it would have been to stay in court. But maybe that's the same reason he was fucking little boys, because it would have been it's a lot cheaper to manipulate a little boy. You don't have to groom all the time than it is to have a boyfriend who's the same age as you who wants a load of presents.
It's difficult, like I say, because also no one's ever going to know for sure what happened. Like, only the people involved, only Michael Jackson and them kids know what happened. So like, it's a weird fucking situation. It really is weird.
I mean, until in 40 years' time, someone finds an old phone or an old VHS that's got a video of him recording a kid giving him a blowjob. Yeah. Then you're quite right. We're not going to be able to indefinitely say whether it did or didn't happen. But like I've said already, if it was on the balance of probabilities, and I'd say yes or no, I've already said which way I'll go.
Yeah. No, exactly. Well, we've talked about Michael Jackson for about 20 minutes, about him touching kids, and I'm just looking at the news stories we've got. I think maybe we should probably steer away from some of these. I mean, we might need to make it a little bit more light-hearted, because at the moment we've been talking about pedos for 20 minutes. Let's talk about. Let's have a look. What have we got? Oh, this is one I want to talk about. Is the one you sent me about the plane that was forced to return to the airport after mum forgets baby in the departure lounge. Now, I haven't read this. Do you know where it was?
I know it was between two Asian countries, and
so where does it say? It says, oh fuck, I've gone too far now.
It was in the Arabic region. It was
apparently showing the moment Saudi flight from Jeddah to what's that?
Kuala Lumpur.
There we go. Request permission to return. So she's got on the plane. At what point, right? Do you remember? Like, do you reckon she got to the point where she sat down? Is there a video of it?
She did get to the point where she sat down.
She sat down.
There's no doubt she got to the point where she sat down because the plane had taken off, and there's no point playing the video because all it is.
So it took the plane. They were in the air.
They were in the air. The plane had to request permission to turn round and land back at the airport it had taken off from.
Do you reckon she did it on purpose? No, because did she bring it up? Did she say, "I've left my baby"?
Yeah.
Right.
No, she brought it up saying, "I've left my baby," and although there's no point playing it because it's not in English, we wouldn't be able to understand it. What the pilots affect? There's actually a quote.
Mad.
There's actually a quote somewhere on this story from one of the pilots. I think it's a little bit lower down. That was it. So I translated to English what the pilot said when it was requesting from air control to land back at the same airport was, "This flight is requesting to come back. A passenger forgot her baby in the waiting area. The poor thing."
The poor thing. Like,
to be honest,
do you talk about the mum or the baby? Like, that's mental. Like, at what point? Like, fair enough. You go to the airport, right? You check. Oh yeah, right. I've got my passport. I've checked my luggage in. I've got my bag, my carry-on bag.
Yeah.
You get on the plane. You sit down, and you think, I feel like I've forgotten something. And you think,
well, you know what probably happened?
Quiet in it.
The plane had taken off. It'd been flying for 20 minutes, and the air hostess probably walked up to her and said, "Would you like anything from the in-flight menu today?" And when she said no, and the air hostess said, "Oh, the person sat next to you, do you know where they've gone?" And then she turns around and goes, "Oh, fuck."
Do you know what I hope it was, right? I hope she was sat down. And I'm assuming she got the baby back, so I'm assuming it's fine to joke about it. I'm assuming the baby didn't get sold or something.
Well, I fucking hope so, otherwise...
So, do you know what I hope, right? I hope she got onto the plane, she sat down, and took off, and then all of a sudden this baby behind her starts crying, and she goes, "Oh, for fuck's sake, will you shut that fucking baby out?" And then all of a sudden she turns around, just looks at the fucking empty seat and just goes, "Shit." Now at that point, do you, like, can you imagine that conversation, having that conversation with the stewardess going, "Oh, excuse me, can we turn the plane around?" What's that? I've left my fucking baby in the airport. Like, you'd think she was taking the piss.
Yeah.
Like, you would really think she was taking the piss. Because that's fucking stupid. Like, that woman is a fucking idiot. And then you sent me this one, which was related to this, which was a lady, or it's a lady, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Nell Frizzell.
Saying, and the headline is, "I'm not the mother who left her baby at the airport, but I could have been." And then the headline under that is, "Boarding without your baby is the sort of thing that can happen all too easily in the disorienting world of new parenthood." Now, I'm not being funny, right? I don't have any children,
Yeah.
right? I'm pretty sure if I did, I wouldn't leave one at a fucking airport when I got on the fucking plane.
Yeah.
You've had to buy the kid. Well, I'm assuming you have to buy the kid a ticket. I don't know if they go. I don't know if it's like.
Yeah.
Will they get on free if they're under a certain age? But you must have to buy that kid a ticket. Like, that's so irresponsible.
Do you know what? Forget buying a ticket. It's irrelevant. If you had your baby at the airport and you were supposed to have your baby at the airport, there's no excuse for leaving it there. And I mean, it's important to note that this Guardian article that gets defensive of the woman is one of their opinion pieces. So they tend to be some
So I'm just reading this as well. I have left my... This is the woman writing the article. I have left my baby on walls, in public toilets, up trees, on trains, rolled onto the beds, and on one very rare occasion in an envelope at the bottom of my handbag. Like, but that's multiple. Like, on walls, that's multiple walls. Like, this woman shouldn't have a child. Like, that's... Why are you taking your fucking kid up a tree? Why does the kid go... Because also, in an envelope, so how small is this kid? It must be, like... A baby. Why are you taking it up a tree? If it can't hold its fucking head up, it shouldn't be allowed up a fucking tree. Why is someone defending that? That is ridiculous. And also, how fucking dangerous is that, leaving your kid in your handbag? Have you seen a woman's fucking handbag? Yeah. Suppose that kid didn't get fucking sent to Jumanji or something.
Sent to Jumanji or swallowed her...
In a fucking handbag, in a woman's handbag.
Because I ain't being funny.
That is fucking... I can't believe that. I can't believe that's happened... And someone then has written of something and defended it. That is mental.
In the process of defending it, this person's admitted to leaving their baby up trees, on trains, rolled under beds, rolled in a cigarette. Oh no, I'm making it up. On one very memorable occasion, in an envelope at the bottom of my handbag. I ain't being funny. I've got 2 boys, and I'm epileptic. I've looked after them better when I've been having a fucking seizure.
I can't believe that. That's so fucking... It's literally out of Home Alone. That is literally what it's like.
Yeah.
Like, she's seen Home Alone that night and thought, oh, that'd be enough. Like, and she's left the kid at the airport. Like, did she come back to the airport? Like, can you imagine explaining that to that kid when he's older? Like, that you got left at a fucking airport. I got on the plane, sat down, the plane took off, and then I realised, oh, I'd forgotten you. Like,
that's something that'd be pretty hard to laugh off at Christmas dinner, wouldn't it?
Oh my god, that is some Home Alone shit. Like, I just got the image now of the woman going back to the airport and the kids sat having the fucking traps around the fucking airport. Like fucking Home Alone. That's mental.
She goes running back for her kid who's still sitting there, and none of the airport staff are clocks and gets smacked in the face with a tin of paint.
Yeah, fucking oh my god, that's one of the most ridiculous like news stories.
I've already read it, and it doesn't. I know it doesn't tell you, so I can't get an answer. But I'm quite curious to know whether before this was raised up by her, whether anyone had clocked this baby alone on the airport.
Because like she must have been. Like, yeah, exactly. Like I
don't know if you left the baby alone in the London airport, give it 3 minutes, and it'd probably have 4 officers pointing guns at it because it was suspected of being a package.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like that, I can't believe that. That's really funny. Like how. I don't know how that happens. Like that's something that is you think is made up, because that is ridiculously stupid. And anyone that says it's not stupid is a fucking idiot. Because as long as the kid's alright, that's funny as shit. And 2, that woman's a fucking moron.
Well, like, the two stories. So the first one reported it in the first place in more of a funny context, and this one getting defensive. It's the perfect example of good and bad journalism.
Yeah.
The first one I read and started laughing my nuts off. And the second one, I hadn't even got a paragraph in, and I was thinking, you fucking pretentious bitch.
Also, like, I don't want to slag this woman off, because obviously she writes for The Guardian, and obviously, I'm assuming she's a respected journalist.
You don't want to slag her off, I do.
But also, like, why would you write this and defend that? Like, to me, that's so stupid, because there's nothing to defend. Like, alright, the woman is an idiot, and she shouldn't have left her baby at the airport, but like, no harm's come to the kid. It doesn't need defending. Like, I don't understand why this has been written. Like, I take more umbrage with this article than I do with the fucking woman leaving a kid in the airport.
Do you know, I'd find it amusing if it weren't so annoying.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I really don't understand that. That's really weird.
Because if I left my kid in all them places, I wouldn't A, get defensive, and B, be admitting it publicly.
No, that's what. No, I wouldn't come out of it. Because no, I had the kid. What are you talking about? Yeah. The kid was sat next to me. He was eating some peanuts. Oh, fuck that. That's fucking mad. That's a funny one.
I'm just hoping that when she left her kid in an envelope, the post office won't brought into the equation.
She left it on the fucking scales of the fucking post office.
She probably didn't even realise. They probably found the poor little fucking thing at the store.
Probably too expensive to send it. She was thinking, no, I'm not paying for this. Fuck that. Yeah. Oh, that's funny shit. What else should we have a look at? This one's quite interesting. So do you want to read this one, because this is one you sent to me?
Yeah, Google must be broken up to save news media, says Rupert Murdoch's News Corp.
Now, first of all, the first thing I'd like to point out is obviously other people can't see this, but could he look any more like a fucking scrotum? Look at his fucking face.
No, I mean,
Jesus Christ. What the fuck?
do you know what? If I was Michael Jackson, I'd probably be a bit aroused by it now.
That, like, he definitely looks like a ball bag.
Yeah,
But the
and that's not the only bit of irony in this.
no,
news story.
the irony in someone that owns, because what does he own? What?
He owns News Corp, and I mean, I can only really talk in terms of the UK. I know this is global, but I mean, in the UK, I know he owns the Sun, Daily Mirror. I want to say Daily Star, but I might be wrong. But this is worldwide.
So
He owns countless news corporations, and him basically he's throwing his toys out the pram.
Yeah.
I mean, so the title of the headline, which was, if you just go back for 1 second.
Yeah.
So the title of the headline, which was "Google must be broken up to save news media," says Rupert Murdoch's News Corp. For anyone who's not understanding what I'm saying, I'll just translate it for you, which is, I'm pissed off because Google are now making more money than I was.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because he owns what? He owns the traditional media, doesn't he? Which is, he owns, so, and the problem is, because Google own, like, stuff like YouTube and that, don't they? They own YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the problem, like, because he owns the traditional media, which, let's be honest, like, newspapers and that, no one really reads newspapers anymore. Like, a lot of it is online, and a lot of it is, no, I'm just trying to see what he does own. Oh, he looks like such a prick. He looks like such an old prick. Fucking state on him. It's ridiculous. So he owns, well, he owns a lot of shit by the looks of it.
Yeah, a lot. A lot of it we're never going to have heard of because this is global. But
no, but all, like I say,
20th Century Fox.
So it's all by the looks of it, it's all traditional media, which is slowly dying out. It's not. I'm not going to say it's dead because it's not, but like it's slowly dying out. And you've got other things where people get the news from now, which gets a lot more engagement than newspapers and news articles do. But the fucking irony of someone like that saying that Google must be broken up to save the news media. But my point is, why does the news media need saving?
Well, here you are. Here's the way I'd look at it. So, sorry to keep repeating the title, but again, what he basically said is Google's got to be broken up to save the news media. Now, if you take just that line, if someone read that line to you and you didn't know it was Rupert Murdoch, you didn't know it was News Corp, your perception of it would be, this is someone who clearly has care for the traditional media industry. They want to protect it and they want to respect it. Now, here's where I fail to follow his argument, because he owns these countless organisations. You go on to I've just gone onto the Sun now, which just to get on the public record, I'm not a reader of. But I go onto the Sun now. I'm scrolling down the pages, and what can I see? Countless adverts. These websites are covering adverts. So what it seems like he's effectively pissed off about is that Google can say to him and these other big companies is, my dick's bigger than your dick.
Yeah,
because he's happy to use websites, and he's happy to use he's happy to produce advert revenue using online sources. I'm sure this would not be a problem. I'm sure this wouldn't be a problem if News Corp was the biggest online news organisation in the world.
If you read it right, it says, in an 80-page submission to the Australian government, News Corp, which is itself faced allegations of monopolistic behaviour, said Google's search engine and third-party advertising platform should be separated to allow publishers to compete for ad revenues. And then underneath it says, publishers have seen revenues decline sharply in recent years, forcing many to cut staff or shut down altogether. And Facebook and Google now hoover up more than 60% of all internet and ad spending, a proportion that is expected to continue to grow. But that's also because the fucking news is bullshit as well. There's a lot more engagement online, and also people get bored of the traditional journalism because a lot of it is shit, and a lot of it is bollocks, and a lot of it is just so they make money. Like, if he was making more money than them, he wouldn't give a shit.
That's what I was
and if it was the other way around, he'd be like, no, that doesn't need to happen.
If News Corp and one other organisation was hoovering up 60% of online ad revenue between them two, and Google and Facebook were in this equation, then it wouldn't be a problem. And as it says in this, there's plenty of documented evidence of News Corp showing monopolistic behaviour. But that was fine for them.
Yeah, it's because he's getting that done. It's like when you play Monopoly and when you have to start paying someone more rent and then they get more money than you. That's literally what's happened. He's playing Monopoly. He's now getting beaten, and he's the kid that then flips the fucking board up and doesn't want to play anymore and starts crying.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what it is, and it's pathetic.
Pretty much. I mean, you.
And also, mate, sort your fucking face out.
The fact he's so old and looks like my scrotum pretty much says it all. But
that's fucking mad.
You can't. He's not going to have a lot of respect for the fact that the world's changing and people are going to.
No, because people like that don't want the world to change. That's the problem.
Yeah, people are going to. In the modern day and age, people in my generation at least, they'd rather have access to a news source online where, at the click of a finger, the information can change, subject to updates.
Yeah.
Than reading a piece of paper that was published hours earlier and isn't going to change throughout the whole day.
That's the thing. Like, because things and the amount of information that's exchanged and consumed on an hourly basis, like, is ridiculous nowadays. With all like Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, and all the sites on the internet. Like, to me, there isn't a place now for traditional news. Like, TV's a bit different because I think you can update that more than you can a newspaper. But like newspapers and that I don't think they have a place. And I know it's not. I know it's not just about newspapers. I know it's about making money, and that's all he gives a shit about. Like, he wouldn't give a shit if if he was making money off his websites, then he wouldn't be moaning. But the fact that someone else is outdoing him, he's now throwing his toys out the pram. It's fucking pathetic.
And I wonder what his response would be if the headline was changed very slightly to News Corp must be broken up.
Yeah, exactly.
To take away political power.
Yeah.
Because you can't ignore the fact I'm just talking in the context of the UK because I don't know a lot about the other countries, but if you look at the conglomerate of newspapers that he's got in this country,
yeah,
you can't ignore their political influence. But if people were trying to bring a case against him saying that News Corp needs to be broken up to bring back political equality,
yeah,
then
because that's worse than losing money. The fact that he has that influence and can change things, you change the way people see things, is one, a lot scarier, and two, a lot worse than losing some money on some adverts.
You can't ignore the stories that come out of them newspapers, such as the Sun and the Daily Mirror, among others. Stories that come out of them are part of the reason that we got fucking wankers like Tommy Robinson running around.
Well, yeah,
and they're making people.
Yeah, but you were saying before we started recording that you support his views.
So again,
I said you said before we started recording that you supported.
Don't fucking tell me, dickhead.
No, this is the thing, and it's a weird world that we live in, because it's just people just want to cling to the old ways, but it's all about money. That's all that matters nowadays. Because he doesn't give a shit about if the media's represents the actual truth. He doesn't give a shit because they don't. And you go on some of his websites and it's all just bollocks.
Yeah.
Like, it's absolute bollocks. But like it's all about money, and it just fucking winds me up.
Yeah. And to clarify, I wouldn't be naive enough to say that there's not potential issues around policies that Google and Facebook have got.
Oh no, definitely.
Because I'm not that stupid. But again, backing up something you were previously saying, I'd be more concerned about potential political influence of people like Rupert Murdoch and their papers.
Yeah, that's a lot scarier
than I would be. And there's been plenty of documented evidence in the past of political parties cozying up to certain news sources, which is going to help their campaigns. And I personally find that a lot more concerning.
Yeah, exactly. Right, let's have a look at what else we got. We're on 40 minutes. Let's go back to a funny one. I think let's have a look at this one. So this is a tweet from BBC Sussex, and it says it's got a map of the south. Yeah, because that's where we are. So it's now illegal to fly a drone.
No, it's BBC. It's BBC Sussex. It's BBC Sussex, but it's based in Glasgow. Didn't you know that?
Are you taking the piss?
Yeah, I'll take it.
It's now illegal to fly a drone anywhere in Chichester, Shoreham and much of Crawley as the government expands drone exclusion zones. And that's all because of what kicked off in Gatwick, where that drone caused upheaval for 3 days, whatever it was.
Yeah, 19th till the 21st of December there were
Yeah,
hundreds of flights cancelled and delayed.
yeah, which was, and it caused, and they didn't find the people. I don't think they were responsible. They arrested two people, plastered their face all over the news, and then turned out, oh no, it wasn't them. So then they got grief because it was like, well, because I tweeted and said, because Sky News actually blurred out their faces, and I said that's the right thing to do, because one, even if these people have been arrested, you don't know if they're guilty. You shouldn't plaster their face all over the fucking.
No.
All over, but again, it gets clicks and it gets all that, but whatever. But this what makes you laugh about this is the map. So there's a map of the south. So there's Brighton where we are, all the way along to like Chichester, and then up, and you can just see the bottom of like Guildford and that thing. So there's what 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm assuming the purple ones are the zones that you're now no longer allowed to fly drones in.
Yeah, looks like
Right,
it.
that's ridiculous. Look at the look how like. That's not going to do anything. It's now illegal to fly, but is it illegal to fly one? What if you go from outside? So what if you park just outside of Worthing, and then you fly up, and then you fly into the zone? Is it just that zone? And I'm assuming that's because I'm assuming that's where planes go. That's where some plane routes are.
Yeah.
But that's fucking stupid. Look at the gap. Look at the size of the map, and look how much is not covered in a drone zone.
I'm just worried that I'm worried about the time that I buy one of my boys a drone for Christmas, and at that point they're probably going to have banned drones in Brighton, but
Well, it's like them.
it'll probably have a 50-mile exclusion zone, and I'm worried about having to take him up to South London to fly
It's like
fly a drone, because it seems it's alright to fly around London, because like I said, or like we said on 19th to 21st December, the problem at Gatwick, someone flew drones over Gatwick, grounded hundreds of flights, and was never caught.
Nah.
So if they weren't caught doing that at the second biggest airport in the country, what's going to happen in Shoreham or Brighton?
But also, like, what does that mean as well for like people that do? Because obviously, like, when I've been at work, people have brought drones in to take pictures of stuff. Are you now? Are you not allowed to do that now, or is it just literally? It's like recreational drones. Like, I don't really know. I don't really understand like what they think that's going to do, because it's like
Well,
they're
BBC Sussex is quoted a web. They're showing the link for the website No Fly Drones.
Let's have a look at that. See what that says. So it says no fly drones in the UK. Have you asked yourself where can I fly my drone in the UK, or what does a flight restriction zone mean? Oh dear, that's mental. So no, this must be just any drone then. It can't just be. We use the rules and regulations of the UK Air Navigation Order to present a simple graphical tool to aid safe flight planning for hobbyists and professional drone operators. Yeah, so if it's your job to do that, you've now got to take into consideration the no-fly zones. It's like, do you remember them when they were all the rage like a couple of years ago? Them fucking things you stood on at the electric, like the little Segway things that all the kids had.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like them. Like, and then they got banned. They got made illegal. You can. It's like anytime something gets popular, there's a few idiots that then do something stupid with it, and then it fucking just gets banned, and they just die out.
Yeah, I'm just worried. Like I said, if I ever buy my boy a drone, I have to fly him to southern France to let him fly it. So
As long as you don't fly over Gatwick, you'll be alright. Well, no, to be fair, you could fly over Gatwick, you wouldn't get caught because they can't seem to do anything.
well, no, actually, they say they've introduced a lot of new technology that's meant to stop this sort of thing there. So I was going to try Heathrow.
Yeah, just try and get it to as many airports as you can. See what their security's like. That's ridiculous. Like that just makes me laugh because there's so much space in between those. Like I'm sure some drones as well can fly. I'm assuming they can do it. So like if you're in that zone, like they're saying if you fly, they'll know it's you. But like you could go outside the zone. Some drones can fly for miles, can't they?
Yeah. Well, I'm fully intending to go buy a drone, drive myself to Shoreham. I'm going to look on Google Maps and get myself literally a couple of roads outside that exclusion zone. And I'm going to make sure my drone's got a speaker on it, and I'm going to fly it in, fly it back out, and go, nah, you can't get me.
I just think that's mental. Like again, that's someone's come up with that as well. That's someone's job to come up with that. The no fly drone zone. I think that's fucking ridiculous. Again, it's not gonna do anything. It's just that'll spur people on. It always happens. They try and stop things, and then it'll spur people on, and there'll be even fucking more now. But like that fucking episode of South Park where there's just fucking drones everywhere. And people don't go out; they just fly the drones about. Fucking hell! Oh, that's what. Did you see? Have you seen this?
Do you know what I'm more worried about with this drone thing? If they bring it in Brighton, give it a year or two when Amazon have properly tried out this service, but how the fuck am I meant to order something and get next day delivery by drone?
Well, you'd have to get it delivered outside Brighton, and then you have to go and pick it up. Yeah, did you see this? No. So this is
maybe they'll do it on RC cars.
Maybe until they get an RC ban, and they go back to drones again. So this was. Did you see this? This was a footballer. Have you heard about it? Did you see this at all? Yeah. So there's a footballer called Jack Grealish, who plays for Aston Villa, and a bloke basically ran onto the pitch and then punched him in the head. Which, like, don't get me wrong, obviously you shouldn't do that. Like, he probably gives him a whack as well, like, and then everyone surrounds him and gets him off the pitch.
He seemed to get him a bit more of his forearm than his.
Yeah, he didn't quite. But also, then he walks off and the other fans are cheering him or whatever. Like, so don't get me wrong. Like, obviously that's bad, but you shouldn't be doing that. And the fact that he's got that far is quite scary because he could have had like a blade. He could have had anything on him, really. Yeah. Like, one, I don't know how you would really stop that. Like, there's a lot of people there, and there's only going to be so many stewards and all that stuff. But also, like, it does make me laugh because, like, don't get me wrong, it is bad and it shouldn't have happened. But the way everyone's blown it up, like, it's like he fucking tried to kill him. Yeah. Like, people are like, oh, this is disgusting. Which, yeah, alright, it is. He's gone on and he shouldn't have done it. But, like, let's just calm down a little bit. Like, oh, he's disgusting. He should be, he should be doing whole prison time. Yeah, alright. Like, he shouldn't have done it. But let's not go over the top about it.
He's a football player, not the Messiah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but what's funny is the kiddie that he got punched, he then went on to score the winner in the game. They won 1-0. And I saw something funny. It was like, can you imagine being the police officer that goes into that bloke's cell to tell him that one, Aston Villa won the game, and two, it was that kiddie that scored. Like, that made me laugh. But like, it was just a funny thing because like it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse because he could have had anything on him. He could have had a blade on him. He could have had anything. Luckily, it was only a punch, and it was a bit of a shit punch at that.
But like you said, blown out of proportion.
But yeah, let's not pretend like
it's going to make more people aware of it. It's going to make more people. In some effects, it's going to spur some dickheads on.
And because you had people cheering, you had people, and it's like, you're right, like. And the way people like, especially it's people that were related to the football were like, and I can see why they're saying it. I suppose. But to me, it's just like, you're right. You got punched, like. It's bad. Let's say it's bad, but let's not like bro, like you got stabbed. Like really, it doesn't need to be dragged out that much. But yeah, I just thought it was a funny thing because I couldn't find the video for ages, and I found it, and I was just like, then to be fair, he's lucky he didn't get a kick in from the players really, because he could have easily got one because they all swarm around him and grab him.
He's lucky he won't shipped out to Guantanamo Bay because he should have been.
Yeah, well, he should have been. Really, he needs to be executed. Bring back capital punishment, really, because I think it's one of the worst things that's ever happened. Fucking lucky he got up and scored. But yeah, it's one of them things. I don't know. But yeah, what else have we got? Let's. How long have we been going? What have we been doing? Done 15 minutes. Let's finish on this one. So this is. So when was this? Was this clip?
This clip was recorded today.
Okay.
So this was an interview today. It was on LBC. And Boris Johnson was basically recording him here in an interview saying that spending police budgets investigating historic child abuses, quote, spaffing money up the wall. That's a very bold statement to be making, especially.
First of all, that's such a fucking Boris Johnson thing to say. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's such a Boris Johnson thing to say. Like, he must have someone write this for him because he's such an idiot. He's such a twat. Like, the fact that he has he's to do with our government as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's really scary.
The fact he was in cabinet not only a few months ago.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? The fact he's been anywhere near Parliament It's fucking ridiculous. But like, what goes through your head to say that? Because he must be saying it for a reason. He must be either doing it to get a reaction and draw some publicity, or he genuinely believes that. Now, to me, that's hard to believe that he actually believes that, because surely he can't.
With everything that's been going on, not just in recent weeks, but it's something that's been exposed over recent years. And when we say recent years, we're not talking about throughout my childhood. It's something that's definitely escalated recently, which is the whole culture around sex abuse.
Yeah.
Especially of children who are underage. And to make a statement saying that investigating historic child abuse is spaffing money up the wall, this is something that was recorded today on the 13th of this month, and this is in the same period of time where we got historic, not in the UK might I add, but historic accusations against people such as Michael Jackson, and so you can't. That's almost being naive to the fact these things have ever happened. You can't. If you sat there and asked Boris Johnson, do you think that there's anyone who was sexually abused 20 years ago with the person never being convicted, or accused, or it not becoming public, he'd say, well, yeah, there are people that aren't known about. Then how can it be spaffing money up the wall?
And also, like as well, does he not think, the side that he comes from in politics, does he not think at the moment, with everything that's going on, that they're not being like fucked enough? Like, they're a fucking laughing stock. It's one of the worst governments we've probably ever had in this country. And then he goes on and says something like that. Like, how does he think that's going to help anything? Like, this shows you how thick these people are. It really does. Like, why would you come and say that? There's no reason for you to do that. Apart from you being a fucking twat. I mean, look at him. Just look at him. He looks like a twat. And he talks like a twat.
And the scary thing is, he looks like a twat less so than he did a little while ago when he had
his fucking mop hair.
Yeah, when he looked like he basically looked like a fucking Dulux ad campaign.
He looks like fucking. Do you know who Gary Busey is? That's who he fucking looked like. That's who he fucking looked like. And it's terrible.
If he hadn't got that haircut, I'd pretty much call him the Trump of our politics, because he spouts a load of shit out his mouth and he's got a stupid haircut.
Yeah, he says mad stuff. It's ridiculous. Like, I don't know. I just think like.
I think if I mean, that's actually on a post on Twitter, and I think one of the top comments pretty much sums it up, saying pretty much that his dad should have spaffed him up the wall.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to respond to him.
That would have put us all in a better position.
Exactly. So, like, what a fucking idiot. Like, but it annoys me as well, because like people like this get. I mean, obviously we're drawing attention to it, but like he gets attention. It's like that fucking, what's that dickhead called? Katie Hopkins. It's like, why do people still give her the time of day, and why she still gets in. Well, I know why she does it, because she generates interest. But it's like, can we not have these fucking pricks like plastered everywhere? You don't need them. They don't help anyone. They're not helping anything. Why are they here? Like, fucking, it's ridiculous.
How anyone can have any respect for someone who, this is a long time ago now, but talking about Katie Hopkins, any respect for someone who's sitting there slagging people off, saying that she thinks people are idiots if they name their kids after geographical locations. And see Holly Willoughby sit there, look down at her paper, look up and say, your daughter's called India.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not a geographical location.
No.
Obviously.
I don't know, like, these people don't help the situation. I think they need to, like, just take a step back and think, what am I doing in my life? Because it's like something out of a fucking cartoon. He's like something out of a fucking cartoon. He's like a cartoon character. Like that fucking idiot cartoon character that's in all of them. Like, what a twat. Like, I get lost for words with these fucking politicians. It does my head in. Because they're in charge of people's fucking country. Like, I know he's not in charge of the country, obviously, but, like, these people are in charge of people's lives. And he's coming out with shit like that. And it's the way he says it as well. Spaffing money up the wall. Like, could you say it in any more of a fucking stupid way as well?
just
leading
on from what you're saying about him being like that cartoon character, apart from the fact that I fucking hate him and I love Cartman, he's pretty much like Cartman. He's saying stuff that you know is going to piss everyone off.
Yeah. That's. I'm convinced that's why sometimes they do it, just to generate a bit of buzz and just to annoy people. Yeah, it must be. Because why else would you do it? Do you know what I mean?
But I don't see how you can make a statement like that and how that's going to help you in terms of publicity at a time when the Conservative government's probably about to collapse and there's probably about to be a leadership campaign, which I've got no doubt he'll put himself in as a contender.
Well, who fucking knows?
You think he'd be trying to generate positive publicity around himself?
Well, you'd think so. But maybe he thinks any publicity is good publicity. Doesn't have to be good or bad, but I don't fucking know. Let's not end on this one because we talked a lot about child abuse. So let's end on.
And why have you been talking a lot about child abuse, Josh?
I don't know what you're trying to imply. I don't know what you're trying to imply.
Well,
so no.
I think you know what I'm trying to imply.
I'm hoping you're not trying to imply that I'm like Michael Jackson. Because I can't dance like him. This one's quite funny. So, chicken. The headline is "Chickens Gang Up to Kill Intruder Fox on French Farm." So, chickens in a school farm in northwestern France are believed to have grouped and killed a juvenile fox. So, the unusual incident in Brittany took place after the fox entered the coop with 3,000 hens through an automatic hatch, which closed immediately. Fucking hell. He fucking walked into the wrong neighbourhood, didn't he? Jesus Christ. 3,000 hens. I'm not surprised he fucking died. Jesus.
I think I died if I got attacked by 3,000 hens, but normally you'd have a fox ripping the shit out of a hen, but I think in that situation with 3,000 hens attacking him, excuse a cheesy quote, but he'd definitely gone down the pecking order, hadn't he?
Oh, well, yeah. Like, can you... like, I wonder, because it must have been a huge coop then if there was 3,000 hens in there. It must have been like just a barn full of hens. Imagine how fucking like that fox walks in and is like.
Oh, there you go. It says the farm is home to 6,000 free-range chickens who are kept in a 5-acre site.
Fuck yeah, now.
Well, give it another week or so, we'll probably see. There's probably going to be a court case in France trying to convict all 6,000 under joint enterprise.
I love that. When the automatic door closed, the fox thought to be around 5 or 6 months old, became trapped inside. A whole mass of hens can arrive together, and the fox may have panicked in the face of such a big number. They can be quite tenuous when they're in a pack. Yeah, because chickens can be right little vicious bastards. Now, you seen that video of the chicken? It's a cat, and it's like, I don't know if it's playing with a mouse or whether it's killed a mouse, and it goes in to pick it up, and this chicken just fucking runs through and picks it out of its mouth and fucks off and runs off with it. They can be right fucking vicious bastards.
I can picture it now. This fox walking around the farm, sniffing around, getting the scent of a chicken, getting closer to his coop, walking in, but it's a bit dark, and then he hears the door slam shut behind him. He turns around, looks at the door, turns back around and sees 3,000 chicken and just goes,
and it's like a scene from fucking Gladiator. Like they're all just lined up on the fucking walls. And it's like, you know, in the films when they do like when they reveal something and like the lights go on, but they go on like in sections. It's just like doof, 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 doof. There's just all these chickens fucking around this fox, and then I imagine one big chicken like with like a fucking like pipe in its hand or something, just like, boy, you've come to the wrong neighbourhood. Although it's French, they wouldn't be speaking like that. But yeah, just like that. Fucking hell. That must have made such a fucking racket as well. Like, I wonder if it killed any of the chickens. I wonder if it took any out before it was like pecked to death or whatever. I'm assuming that's what happened. It was pecked to death.
But to be honest,
oh, there you go. It had blows to its neck, blows from beaks. So they pecked it to death pretty much. Then
cause of death, pecking.
Pecked to fucking shit.
Well, do you know what? Reading that headline, you open with saying, "Oh, this one's quite funny." I didn't think it was funny because I read it and I'm fucking scared of chickens.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't want to get locked in that coop.
I'm not being funny. If you walked into a coop and
do you reckon you could do anything with 3,000 hens? You'd be fucked, wouldn't you?
3,000 hens attack. Those 3,000 hens, I'm quite scared of them now because they must have been getting some fucking sick enjoyment out of that. They were probably enjoying watching the fox squirm.
Like, how fucked do you reckon you'd be if you walked into there and they started going for you? Like, you'd be fucked, wouldn't you? There's no way you'd get out of that. There's three. It's like if they all pile on you at once, like you must be fucked. Surely.
Can me and you just make a pact now? if either you or I are ever pecked to death by 3,000 hens, for the sake of the other's dignity, we'll cover it up.
Yeah. We'll say 5,000.
5,000. Yeah.
You know, what they should have done there, should have been 2 foxes, and they should have killed one and then sent one on its way to send a message to the other foxes like, don't fucking come round here no more.
Well, don't, because if it had been 2 foxes, one of them would have been slightly more orange than the other one would have escaped, and then the hens would have been racist as well.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard that about chickens, to be fair. Yeah, like that's one of them tables of turn sort of things in it where he definitely walked into the wrong fucking coop. 3,000 hens, can you imagine the fucking noise and the fucking like just feathers flying everywhere? Like because you fucking hear foxes.
Did it say it was in Brittany in France?
Yeah.
I thought I heard something. I woke up the other night, and that's me being in Brighton.
Well, foxes make a fucking big noise. The foxes are loud especially when they're like shagging each other. But like, can you imagine the fucking noise of that? Jesus Christ! It's like it reminds me of like fucking prison beatdown or something. Like just like when you see it in the films, like in the fucking like food hall, just fucking loads of people around. It's like fucking hell. That's ridiculous.
I mean, this news story's only come from today, and like I said, I'm now scared to be near chickens, and as it might even be one of those news stories that rolls and develops, because those 3,000 chickens or however many it was attacking him must have got some fucking enjoyment out of it, and it's probably going to roll even further and develop, and we're going to find out they sodomised and raped him.
A big fucking gang of chickens now is just roaming around France looking for foxes to fuck up.
Even though they're all of one breed, if I had to correlate with anything I can think of right now, it'd probably be from South Park, the Christmas critters.
No, it's the turkeys from South Park. Do you remember them? The mutant turkeys, or the genetically modified turkeys. That's literally what this is. Yeah. That's literally what this that's what it reminds me of. Is them. I don't know, but
Chicken Run 2, Tables are Turned.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine the sequel? It's just them going around just killing everything, just fucking decimating everything.
Back me into a pie, you cunt.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think we'll leave it there because I don't think we can go anywhere from chickens fucking beating the shit out of a fox.
I think we've said enough stuff at risk of being accused kiddie fiddlers.
Yeah, I was going to say we've. It's been a very heavy for the first one. It's been a very heavy one, but it's shit that's relevant and it's shit you can talk about, isn't it? So.